Hey guys, Luke here back on Sean's channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys a new test hand video. Today I'm going to be doing some test hands with my Dragon Ruler deck. So this is Dragon Ruler Tenpai, so the good thing I really like about this deck is the fact that it can go first and also go second, because Dragon Rulers are generally very good at setting up some very decent boards if we're going first, but also we have the Tenpai package in case we ever need to go second, and then we can Tenpai OTK from there. We're going to be mostly doing this in a sense of if we were going first. I might show a quick one about if we were going second, which is hard to kind of replicate that considering that our opponent already have some interruptions and stuff. But either way, this is just going to be a quick little few test hands that we're going to try out. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Okay, so we'll just give this deck a quick little shuffle here. I know for a fact the main sort of starter that we always want to see in our hand is Spectral. So it'll be very great if we can show off the combos with Spectral and stuff like that. But also if we can show off some of the Tenpai stuff too, that would be great. Most of the M boards that we want to go for involves Chasma. And maybe another body, another rank 7 monster, or maybe spheres. But there's just a bunch of different ways that we can go about this deck. So let's just get our first test hand here. We got 5 cards, and this is fucking horrendous. Oh my god. This is a fairly bad hand. It would be great if we were going second because we have Fuwalos and we have Ash Blossom, so it's like not too bad to get some interruptions. We can probably still go for a little floodgate play, however it does completely turn off our Tenpai Dragon stuff. So let's just try and play this out as if we were going first. This of course means that we won't be able to do the Tenpai stuff afterwards. So we got to make sure that we have enough to try and stop our opponent as quickly as we can. So let's start off by normal summon Genroku. He wasn't added or anything like that without drawing, so unfortunately we do have to normal summon him. We're going to activate his effect. We can tribute him, especially summon one Tenpai Dragon monster from the deck, so we're going to do that. We are going to get rid of him so that we can special summon out Tenpai Dragon Paidra. We're going to use Paidra effect. We are going to get Sangan Kaiman to our hand. So it is very unfortunate that Kaiman is limited to 1, because if it wasn't, then we could probably still have the Tenpai stuff open for us next turn as well. But it's going to be really hard to do that because we might need to get our Fadra into play, or maybe another Genroku just so we can get Fadra out. But for the time being, let's just go with this. So we're going to activate Sangan Kaiman. So we're going to add a level 4 or lower fire monster from our deck to our hand. What you can do here if you want is you can actually add the level 4 fire monster Burner, and then when Burner in your hand you can discard it along with Tidal in order to bring out Blaster, and then you're able to kind of make up your way from there. But I'm just going to go with my gut here, and I'm just going to get Chundra into play. So we're going to add Chundra to her hand. It's not the battle phase, so we can't just special summon it out. However, Chundra does have an effect that since we control a fire monster on the field, we're able to special summon him out. So what we can do here is we can use these two in order to synchro summon into our Biden Dragon, who is a synchro 7 monster. Since he is special summoned, we can target one fire monster in our graveyard, and then we're able to special summon it. So we might as well go for that. We'll just go with Paidra, but it really doesn't matter too much. What we're probably going to do now is we are going to link away Paidra for our Striker Dragon to no effect. What we're then going to do is activate Tidal. We are going to banish the Paidra and the Genroku. I never feel right banishing Chundra just because it is limited and we have no other ways to get access to it. So I like to keep it in the graveyard just in case we can recover with Fadra so that we can special summon out. So Tidal's going to hit the field now, and now this has 2 level 7 monsters on the field that we're able to exease them both into Chasma. Then from here I'll show you a quick little thing that you can do with Chasma. What you're able to do is you're able to detach material and then send a level 7 Dragon Ruler from your deck to the graveyard in order to copy its effect of the one that you sent. So we are going to want to send Tidal to get that Foolish Burial. So we're going to send Tidal, and then we will also detach the Tidal. That's going to allow us to Foolish Burial any monster from the deck. So we are going to go with our Archlord Kristya. Then from there, what we're probably better off doing is just passing turn over to our opponent, and as soon as the draw phase happens, we can activate Chasma's quick effect. We can send a copy of Redox from our deck to the graveyard, along with detaching our second material. And then what we can do is we can copy Redox's effect, which is monster reborning one monster. So we're going to target that Archlord Kristya, and we're going to special summon it out onto the field. Now, from here, what you can see from that low test hand is we don't really have a whole lot. We have one hand trap essentially in the form of Ash Blossom, because unfortunately Fuwalos isn't live right now because we have a lot of cards on the field. But Archlord Kristya is definitely the MVP right here, because with Archlord Kristya on the field, it means that neither player can special summon monsters. So that's like a complete lockdown for most modern decks. Just have to really hope that your opponent doesn't have any removal cards that can really mess us up. Then we're passing it over to us, we're going to draw, and then we have Gold Sarc. So there's really no way for us to continue on, because unfortunately Kristya is a double-edged sword. We can't do a whole lot of special summoning with some of the monsters in the graveyard, so what we're going to have to do is probably activate Gold Sarc. We'll activate Gold Sarc. What we'll probably do is just see how much more damage we need to get on board. We just need another 1200, so with Gold Sarc what we're able to do is we can banish Blaster, and then we can use Blaster's effect. We can add a fire dragon monster from our deck to our hand, so we can probably do there is just add the Paidra. Then we can just normal summon the Paidra, we can get Paidra's effect. We are able to add a Sanguine spell, so we're going to add the Sanguine summoning. We can activate it to no real effect, and then we can pretty much go in and swing for game from here. This is of course 8500 damage on the board right now. But honestly, that's not really an optimal hand. Let's just see, hopefully the next hand we get, we might be able to do something a bit more interesting. Let's just shuffle this up and we'll get another 5 cards so we can give it a quick test. And let's see what we've got. Okay, this is fairly decent actually. What we will probably do is we are going to start with Spectral, because Spectral is definitely the best starter that we have. Let's just organize our hand a little bit. I might get Paidra to the end. I might get Drago to the end, Tempest, Tidal, and Spectral. Okay, let's start by activating Spectral. We will discard him along with Tidal, and we are going to add 2 Dragon Ruler monsters from our deck to our hand. I like to get a few of the different names in the rotation as quickly as possible. Since we already have Tidal up and Tempest, we might go with the other 2. So let's get Baby Reactan, and we will also get Big Blaster to our hand. You can interchange whatever ones you want to add to your hand, but I definitely recommend going with 1 Baby and 1 regular Dragon Ruler in order to get this play to go off. Because next up what we're going to do is we're going to activate Reactan. We are going to pitch it along with Blaster in order to special summon a Redox from our deck. So we will just get that now. We're going to discard those 2. Let's get Redox out onto the field. What's really great about this is then we have a bunch of our names already in play. So what we can do is we can activate one of our Dragon Rulers in our graveyard in order to get them out. What I might do is I might activate Tidal. I will banish Blaster and Reactan in order to special summon it out. And then what I might do is I might activate Blaster's effect. I might add 1 fire dragon monster from my deck and I'll add it to my hand. What I might go for is I might just go for the Chundra, just because I think it is a very good card to have if we are going to go into the 3rd turn of the game, i.e. our 2nd turn. So it might be good just to have it in hand so we know we open it. Because I know we already have Paidra, but I might have other plans for Paidra. We'll just see how this plays out. Next, what I might do is I might activate Tempest's effect. I might discard him along with a Wind, which is going to be our Meiru Drago. And we are going to get them into the graveyard so that we are able to add 1 dragon monster from our deck and add it to our hand. I think a good monster that we can probably add off of this one would probably be Nebulus, because we are going to use that in order to get our banished Dragon Ruler monsters from the banishment and get them out onto the field. So what we're going to do from here is we might use these 2 Dragon Rulers. We're going to use Redox and Tidal. We are going to use them to go into our copy of Chasma, which is very good. Now what we can do is We can choose to activate Chazma's effect, but I might just hold off on that for the time being. I might activate Nebulus's effect. We are going to discard him along with Paidra to get his effect. And his effect reads that you can discard this and one dragon or dark monster, target 2 of your banished dragon or monsters with different attributes, and then special summon them, but they cannot attack. So we are going to get our Spectral and our Blaster. What we can then do is use the 2 of these to go into our spheres. And then if we want, what we can do is we can activate our Chazma. We might detach our Redox in order to special summon a monster from our graveyard, and we will go with the Meiru Drago, which means that now neither player can special summon light or dark monsters, but that's absolutely fine because of course we've already done all of our plays here. When we're going into our end phase now, we have to do the cost of Drago, where during each of the end phases, during each of your end phases, destroy this card unless you send one Iron Core of Koa'ki Meiru from your hand to the graveyard, or reveal one dragon monster in your hand. And of course, we already have the Chundra that we added off of our blaster, so that's a dragon in our hand. So during the end phase, we are going to reveal the Chundra, and then that's going to allow Drago to stay put when we're going into our opponent's turn. Okay, let's shuffle up again, and we'll see what the next test hand will be. Let's give the deck a split. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is pretty alright. It's nice to see a hand trap in here. We also have talent if we ever get interrupted. But with this hand, you'll probably just get the most basic sort of Dragon Ruler play without Spectral being in the equation. Because we have a baby and at least 2 other rulers. So let's just see what we can do with this. What we're going to do is we're going to activate Stream. We're going to pitch him along with Redox in order to special summon Tidal from our deck. So we will special summon Tidal. Then from here, what we're able to do is we're able to activate Tempest. We can banish the Stream and the Redox from the grave in order to special summon them out. Then we can activate Redox, so we can add a Earth Dragon monster from our deck to our hand. Of course, that means we can get Redox or Reactan, but since we kind of want Redox in the deck to set up the Floodgate, we are going to just add the Reactan. If not for anything, but just to have some hand advantage and get Reactan out of the deck as quickly as possible. Then from here, what we're able to do is we're going to exile these 2 into Chazma. We're going to activate Chazma effect. We are going to send a Tidal, and we will detach the other Tidal as well, just to copy that Tidal effect of Foolish Burying a monster. So we will send the Archlord Kristya, if we're able to find them, there. And then we're going to pass the turn over to our opponent, and during their draw phase, we are able to activate Chazma. We can send Redox and detach the Tempest in order to copy that Redox effect to monster reborning one monster. So that will be Archlord Kristya. That's also a fairly handy hand to see, because if we did get interrupted, we could have activated talent, and then also during our opponent's turn, not only are we locking them out of special summoning, but we also have an effect veiler as well. So their first normal summon is probably safe enough to effect veiler, because we know they're not really doing as many special summonings with Kristya on the field. I'm kind of hoping we get a little bit of a better hand. I feel like we're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again. I kind of want to show off how explosive this deck can be. So hopefully we get a hand that has just a bunch of extenders that we're able to kind of show off that we can actually get 2 Xyz monsters on the field if needs be. Let's just see what we have here. Okay, in terms of this hand, we can probably make it work. It's quite annoying to get Kristya into our hand without Spectral being here, because what's handy with Spectral is that we can discard it along with a light monster in order to get our advantage. But unfortunately that just won't be the case here, so I might just move Kristya over there. We'll just play this out. Let's activate Burner. We will discard him along with Tempest in order to special summon a Blaster from our deck. So we will get Blaster out onto the field. What we can do then is we can activate Tempest. We are going to banish the Burner from our graveyard, and then we'll also banish the Nebulus from our hand in order to special summon him out. What we can do then is we can exease these two, and we can go into a copy of Eclipse Dragon Ruler of Catastrophes. What's good about Eclipse is the fact that it has the effect that if this card is Exile Summon, you can target one level 4 or lower Dragon Ruler monster in your graveyard or banishment. Special summon one level / rank 7 Dragon Ruler monster that is mentioned on that targeted monster from your deck or banishment, then shuffle that target into the deck. So since we have Burner already banished, what we can do is, since Eclipse was summoned, we can get Burner. Burner mentions blasters, so we're able to special summon a blaster from the deck. Which will be the second blaster, and then Burner gets shuffled right back in. Then from here we get to normal summon, so we will do some of the Tenpai stuff. We can normal summon Genroku, we can use the effect, we can send it to the graveyard in order to special summon another Tenpai Dragon. We'll go with Paidra effect. Let's get that copy of Kaimin. We will activate the Kaimin. We are going to add a copy of Chundra. Then, since we control a fire dragon monster, we can special summon out that Chundra. And then from here, we can synchro those two into Biden Dragon. Then Biden Dragon, we can special summon back out, whatever we want really. We'll just go with Paidra. And then these two are pretty much good for us to exease into whatever we want, perhaps even a Chasma. What might be good here then is we can activate Chasma. What we can do is we can send to the graveyard a copy of Redox along with detaching Blaster in order to special summon a monster from grave. So let's just go with, doesn't really matter, it can be used for link material anyways. Let's just go with Genroku. Then that's two dragons. We can link them off for Erratic Seal. And this is still fairly good. What we can then do is we can pass a turn over to our opponent. And for those of you who don't know, what this board basically looks like is with Chasma, what we can do is we either use it to send a copy of Tempest in order to copy the Tempest effect of adding a dragon. And then of course what would be very good there would probably be our Bystial Magnamhut. So that would be a good thing to get in hand for some interruption, or whatever we might think might be good instead, but I think this would be the better play. We also have Eclipse on field as well, so if our opponent activates a spell as a trap card or effect, what we can do is we can detach two materials in order to negate that effect and banish. And then probably most exciting from this board as well is we also have spheres. So if our opponent is playing a light or dark deck and they activate a card or whatever, we can use spheres. We can use this effect, get rid of it to bounce back a card, and then we have spheres effect. We're able to special summon a dragon, so we can get out our Meiru Drago, which I think is fairly good. That's why I think it's good to have kind of like two floodgates, because you can get a little bit tunnel vision if you only have the one. And the fact that we have different ways to get them both out, I think is fairly important as well, because honestly, these two cards right here are always the best cards to bring out off of spheres. So I definitely think that was a good hand to show off. Alright, we're going to shuffle up again, and we're going to see what we're going to get for the next test hand. Split the deck right there. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not too bad with this. Gold Sarc is nice to see, because that pretty much opens ourselves up to whatever we want really. We also have a bit of the Tenpai stuff, but its main focus will be the Dragon Rulers. So fairly similar to what I did before, I will probably start by activating Burner. I will discard him along with Redox in order to special summon out Blaster onto the field. So we'll get Blaster right there. Next up, what we're going to do is we are going to activate Tempest. We are going to banish the Burner and the Redox in order to special summon out that Tempest. Then we can activate the Redox in order to add a Earth Dragon from our deck to our hand. Let's just add the Reactan, mostly just for hand advantage, more so than anything else. Next up, what I might do is I might activate Gold Sarc, and I will banish a copy of Tidal in order to activate Tidal's effect to add a water dragon monster from our deck to our hand. And honestly, I probably just want to get him into rotation as quickly as possible, so I'm probably just going to go for a copy of Tidal. So as you can see, so far we've activated Tidal's effect, we've activated Redox's effect, and we've activated Tempest's effect. So we're getting low on the Dragon Ruler monsters whose effect we can actually activate, so we'll keep that in mind. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to Xyz these two in order to go into a copy of Eclipse, and then we will use Eclipse effect. We are going to target the burner that is banished. We are going to see that burner mentions Blaster, so we are going to special summon a copy of Blaster out from the deck, and we are going to shuffle the burner right back in. Then we are going to activate the Reactan. We are going to send him to the graveyard along with Tidal so that we can get a copy of Redox from the deck and special summon it out. Then from here we have a lot of different ways that we can take this, but I'm just going to try and show off some of the things that we didn't really necessarily see before. We're going to Xyz these two into Chasma. Then what we'll probably do with Chasma is we are going to detach the Blaster and also send a copy of Tempest in order to use the Tempest effect of adding a dragon monster from our deck to our hand. And honestly, I think I will go for the Paidra, because we still hadn't normal summoned yet, so we might as well get Paidra as a fairly decent normal summon. And also important to note is we haven't activated Blaster yet either. So what we can do from there is we can normal summon the Paidra, we can activate Paidra effect, we can get the only target left, which of course is the Kaiman. We can activate the Kaiman. We are going to add Chundra to our hand. Then, since we control a fire dragon monster, we can special summon out Chundra. We can synchro these two in order to go for our Biden Dragon. We can use Biden Dragon effect. Let's get out a copy of Paidra. And then from here, there's two ways you can go about it. What you can do is you can link these two in order to go for your spheres, which is quite good because then you know yourself with spheres you can bounce it in order to bring out your Drago Dragon guy to lock your opponent out of summoning lights or darks. Or another good thing to note is the fact that we still didn't activate Blaster's effect this turn, so we can activate Blaster while he's in the graveyard, and we can banish two dragon monsters. Let's get rid of Reactan and Tidal in order to special summon it out. And then we can use these two in order to go for another rank 7, which will be Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. So this is a fairly impressive board as is. Unfortunately, Paidra's not really doing a whole lot. He's kind of just standing there, but he's able to protect himself because he has the effect that you take no battle damage with battles involving your fire dragon monsters, so he's fine to stay there and attack. What we basically have is with Flare Metal Dragon, every time your opponent activates a card or effect, you inflict 500 damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. So it's a pretty good way of getting in a bunch of burn damage into our opponent and really put them on a clock and make them very cautious about how many cards they are activating. We also have Eclipse that's able to detach 2 material in order to negate and banish a spell or trap card. And we also have Chasma with 1 material, but honestly, considering that we don't really have any more targets left in the deck for our Dragon Ruler's effect to pop off with Chasma, what we might have been better off doing is double checking that and then actually just using Chasma as some link material in order to go for our spheres, which might have just been a better end board. I probably just wasn't paying too much attention to how many rulers we actually went through right there. But still, this is a fairly impressive board to end on. And then when the turn passes over and we are able to survive, we still have that Sanguine Summoning. So then when we draw for turn, we get Spectral, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot. We can just activate Sanguine Summoning, use the effect, we can pitch the Spectral in order for us to add a copy of the Fadra. We can normal summon the Fadra, use Fadra effect, we will get Chundra out onto the field, and then we can go in for the Tenpai stuff right there. So that about does it for the test hands. I know that Dragon Rulers and Tenpai can be quite situational in order what way you want to build up your board, depending on the matchup. And also it can be very, very different depending on if you're going first or if you're going second. But this is just a rough sort of test hand video to show you the different ways that you can build boards with the 5 random cards that you're given at the start. So this video mostly serves to give you a decent outline. So maybe in the near future we might do some proper combos in a proper combo video. But for the time being, I hope you learned something here. If you guys would like to build this deck in the future, then be sure to check out the affiliate links that we have down in the description. By using those affiliate links, you are helping to directly support out the channel. Other ways you might be able to support the channel is by becoming a channel member. Big shout out to our channel members Kieran Thompson, Ron Yell, Master Jojo TCG, John Cran, and Vex. Big shout out to you guys. We really appreciate your continued support. It helps motivate myself and Sean to keep bringing you guys these videos. And for everyone else, if you consider just liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment, it is all very much appreciated. So for now, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.